Children, Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning. So I hope children you would have read the textbook. I hope you are clear with the part. So we started with chapter 5, Morphology of Flowering Plants. I hope you know what is morphology, right? So morphology is the study of external forms of organism. Okay, and we are going to learn about morphology of flowering plants, which means that we are going to learn about angiosperms. Okay, and these angiosperms are categorized by the presence of roots, stems, leaves, flowers and fruits. So angiospermic plants will have all these parts in them, and the main parts of flowering plant or the angiosperms are the root system and the shoot system. So this root system, it is the underground part of the plant, and shoot system, it is seen above the ground. So you'll be learning about the root, the stem, the leaves, flowers and fruits in detail. Okay, so if you take the first part, which is the root, which is very important for a plant survival. So this portion called as the root, it is a part which is developed from the radicle of the embryo. Okay, so it is the underground part which is formed from radicle of the embryo. Now normally germinating seeds, that is germinating embryos, they give rise to radicle and plumule. The first part which comes out of the embryo is the radicle, which turns into the root system. Okay, so it develops from the radicle of embryo, and the root system can be divided into three types, that is taproot system, fibrous root system and the adventitious root system. And we saw about the three different types of root system in detail, right? So we saw that taproot, it consists of primary roots which are called as the taproot, and its branches which are the lateral roots, and they are named as secondary roots and tertiary roots. And this taproot system, it is seen in dicotyledons, which means that they will have two cotyledon. Okay, and how is the primary root, which is called as the taproot, developed? It is the direct elongation from the radicle. Okay, it is directly elongated from the radical portion of the plant. Okay, example of taproot plant is the mustard plant. Okay, and we also saw about the next part, which is the fibrous root system. So this is seen in monocotyledons, and the primary root here is short-lived and is replaced by large number of roots. And where do they originate from? They originate from the base of the stem. Okay, example of these plants are the wheat. Okay, and coming to the next root system, which is called as adventitious root system. So here the roots arise from parts other than the radicle. It means that new roots will arise from parts which is other than the radicle. Okay, example is grass, monstera and banyan tree. You would have seen many branches arising from the stem of the banyan tree, right? So these are all called as adventitious roots. Okay, and this adventitious root system helps them in supporting. Okay, they help the plant to support themselves. Okay, now we also learned about the regions of the root. We saw that it had a root cap, then region of meristematic activity, then the region of elongation, then a region of maturation, and then the root hairs. So root cap, what is the function of root cap? It protects the tender apex. Apex is nothing but it is the tip portion of the root, and this apex is covered by thimble like structure. Thimble is nothing but it is a small cap like structure. Okay, so the tip of the apex of the root is covered by small cap like structure, which is called as the root cap. Okay, so its function is to protect the tender apex. Now coming to the region of meristematic activity, we saw that it is just above the root cap, and the cells here are small, very thin walled, and they have dense protoplasm also. So protoplasm is nothing but it is a living part of the cell, which is the cytoplasm and nucleus. So in this they have very dense protoplasm, and the function of this meristematic area is to divide repeatedly. It means that the cell in this region will divide repeatedly. Okay, and now coming to region of elongation. So this is the part which is present just above the meristematic region, and here it is seen proximal to the meristematic region, and the function of this region of elongation is there is rapid elongation and enlargement happening in the cells there, and this leads to growth of the root and length. And then comes the region of maturation. This region is proximal to the elongation. Okay, elongation zone nere meleyana region of maturation ulladu, and here the cells of elongation will gradually differentiate and they will mature. Okay, and now coming to the last part, which is the root hairs. So this is the region where in the region of maturation, some of the this is the region of maturation, and here some of the epidermal cells will form very delicate thread-like structures, and they are called as root hairs. And what are their function? Their function is to absorb water and minerals from the soil. So this is what we learned in the last class, right? So now let us move on to the today's topic. So we are going to learn about modifications of the root. So we saw the different regions of root. We studied about the function of the root. And what are the functions of the root? The functions of root is to help in the absorption of water and minerals from the soil. Then it provides a proper anchorage to the plant parts, and it stores reserve food material, and then it helps in synthesis of certain growth regulators. Okay, now let us learn about the modification of the root. So we are going to learn how the roots are modified to do different functions. Okay, so other than these functions which I told, roots have other functions to do when they modify themselves in different plants. It is not same in all the plant, it differs in each plant. Okay, now let us see about what is this word called as modification. It is nothing but they change in shape and structure to perform other functions. Okay, so who is changing this shape and structure? It is the roots. So roots in some plants, they modify themselves. It means that they bring about change in shape and size to perform other functions. Okay, so it helps the plant to withstand some conditions, and it also helps the plant to survive properly. So with these modifications, it helps the whole plant. Okay, so let us see what are the different modifications of this root system.